Live from Boston, it's Keep Pound Den.
Back here on the second half, we get the Madden Sim running as the teams come back out of the locker room. New England is kicking off down 14-3 at halftime, Chris.
Well, I mean, at least it's not 25, right?
Actually, Brady has been sacked 4 times in the first half, fumbled twice, and they couldn't get it. They couldn't get it in the end zone, so they did kick a field goal down in the by the 10-yard line. But the best part of this game is the Eagles have 2 touchdowns that were both challenged and ruled catches, something that's not really in the game. So I'm pumped that EA Sports is helping us out a little bit here. But hey, let's bring on our next guest. He's a Massachusetts native and senior editor over at Inside the Pylon. He first came on the show a couple of years ago to talk Panthers Patriots preseason games, and we told him we had such a good time with him. We told him we'd have him back anytime our 2 teams play, and also anytime the Patriots make the Super Bowl. And, well, he pretty much hasn't left the show since. Here, almost an exact year ago later, I think it was the same date last year you joined us. Mr. Dave Archibald in the house. How's it going, Dave?
Great to be here. And 14-3, that's nothing Tom Brady can't come back from. Come on, dude, guys.
Yeah, start worrying. I mean, well, although in Madden, our last year's Super Bowl, like you mentioned, was 7-3.
Yeah, so, it was a not the most thrilling game. It came down to the wire.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens here. Eagles with the ball, looking to grow their lead here. But Dave, man, I don't even, I don't know what to say anymore when we find things to say about the Patriots. Here you are again. I remember yesterday when Edelman went out, and I'm thinking, how the hell are they going to do it without Edelman? And lo and behold, a year ago today, the pliable Tom Brady is back in the Super Bowl wearing white. My question is, what happened after we beat you? I feel like the Panthers and fans need, you owe us like a thank you. Whatever happened, it was almost like the Chiefs of that year, was the Panthers of this year. What happened after that game that made this team pretty much go on a one loss since run, right?
Yeah, I think, if you look at the first 4 weeks, the Patriots really had a bunch of uncharacteristic breakdowns defensively. So, and I'll get into kind of the defense in a little bit, but they were letting guys like run wide open off the line of scrimmage. I mean, you remember that Panthers game. Some of those touchdowns were not even competitive.
I do remember that. I was at that game. Some credit
to the offensive design there, but the Patriots had a bunch of communication issues in the secondary, stuff that you usually don't see. It wasn't guys getting beat. It was guys not even covering the right people. And since they've locked down those issues, the defense still isn't great, but at least it's competitive. And with the offense, that's kind of been all they needed.
Yeah, it's funny you say that, because I was at that game. And, one of the things I make the joke about is that, no one beats the Patriots except for themselves. So, there was no congratulating the Panthers. It wasn't the play design by Mike Shula, or it wasn't the read by Newton. It was the miscommunication in the secondary, as if the play didn't have anything to do with that. But yeah, well,
it does. But then there's breakdowns and then there's breakdowns, right. That really cool play where they sent McCaffrey in motion and then they threw the screen the other way. I mean, that was a great play design, but the Patriots were so badly fooled that some of the blockers didn't even have anybody to block. So it wasn't just the great play design. It was definitely, something rotten in the Patriots secondary, and they've resolved those issues, it seems like.
Oh boy. And Nick Foles almost just threw a pick six, tackled down at the 10. So as soon as we bring you on, Dave, the game shifts. It's funny how that happens.
Second half adjustments, man.
I got to ask you, Dave, have you watched this Tom versus time thing? And what are your thoughts on this?
I have, and I was wondering if you'd bring that up, because people are making a big deal of the Tom Brady kissing his kid thing in the local press. You've seen that?
Yeah, but hasn't he done that before? Or maybe it was his dad.
And I
No,
mean,
it was his
also, who
dad.
cares?
Yeah.
But I mean, from the standpoint of the Keep PounDEN podcast, it's kind of burying the lead, which is Tom Brady's own son has Cam Newton on his fantasy team.
There you go. Good, wise decision.
Well, and back me up here. Aren't Tom and Cam pretty good friends?
Yes.
I mean, they're both Under Armour. Don't they have the same agent as well?
I think they do. Yeah.
Yeah, I think they're pretty close. I know
they're both Under Armour guys.
I know when Tom released whatever it was, that $600 cookbook or something, he sent Cam an autographed copy because Cam mentioned it in his press conference that week.
Okay.
Was it a cookbook?
I did
When
not
did it
know
release this year?
that. I know they've been in ads together, but I did not know he gave him the cookbook.
I think they're pretty good friends.
Man, I'm watching this game here. Defensive line is the digital defensive line is crushing digital Tom Brady. What worries you most about the Eagles and going into Sunday? What's the one thing that the Eagles could do well that could derail this Patriots Super Bowl?
Well, I think most people would say it's that Eagles defensive line versus Patriots offensive line matchup. I'm kind of more worried about the other side of the ball. Like, I feel like the Eagles defensive line, they'll get pressure at points, but are they going to be consistent enough to knock the Patriots off their game? I'm not so sure, but the Patriots have sometimes had trouble with, memorably, two of the worst defensive performances in the last several years have been against the Chiefs and Andy Reid, and Doug Peterson's and Andy Reid disciple. We saw them struggle a little bit with some of the RPO stuff, the run pass option against the Jaguars last week, and the Eagles obviously carved up the Vikings with that. So, I'm not like a Nick Foles believer, but at the same time, I wouldn't be surprised if the Eagles are able to put some points on the board. And if the Patriots make some mistakes offensively or on special teams, that could be a recipe for a long day for the Pats.
Well, go ahead, Chris. Sorry.
I was just say, admittedly, I haven't watched a single Eagles game this season. Is his clock management better than Andy Reid's in the playoffs?
I mean, I'm not sure really clock management comes into it when you win 38-7 or whatever it was.
Sure, no, I don't necessarily mean that, but it just seems like I'm thinking back to that first Super Bowl, besides McNabb throwing up. I'm sorry, the first Eagles Patriots Super Bowl, besides him throwing up on the field and T.O. playing with a broken leg, didn't he butcher the time management there at the end of the game? I mean, I remember they scored a garbage touchdown that it killed the spread, because I think it went from a 5.5 point game, and they made it. What was it? Shit, maybe they made it 9 or something. I don't remember, but I just always remember Andy Reid choking with time management in the big games, and I haven't heard anything about Doug Peterson doing that just yet. So,
yeah, and the Chiefs had a similar issue against the Patriots in the playoffs. I forget, that was a couple of years ago, where they were down 2 scores and they ended up scoring a touchdown, but it took them like 6 minutes or something.
Right.
And
I mean, Andy's arguably been the second best coach in the last 10 to 15 years behind, obviously Bill, but that's the thing that sets him apart. The big game wins, obviously. He's had good teams, just never been able to get over the top.
Wow.
For sure.
Patriots held on the goal line again, kicking the field goal here to make it a 1-possession game. So we go hopefully a 14-6 game if this goes through at the end of the third quarter here in the Madden Sim. But I actually work with a lot of Eagles fans. And, one thing that they say, and this might kind of answer what happened in Carolina, is we know how good the Patriots are at taking away a team's weapon, right? Their number one guy. If you're going against the Eagles, I guess maybe who do you call their number one guy? Jeffrey? And then you get Torrey Smith, you get Ertz. They're kind of a team where you can't do that. And maybe you could say that about the Panthers too. Of course, Cam Newton's probably, public enemy number one, but all quarterbacks are. And that might have been why they kind of lost, contain of people like Fozzie Whitaker. So, I think that when you look at that, I was just kind of thinking of it, looking at the two teams. I mean, who's the best receiver on the field on Sunday, especially, and who's the number one guy on offense that you or Belichick do you think should be worried about for the Eagles?
Well, I think that the three things are Zach Ertz, Alshon Jeffrey, and then the running game, probably especially Ajayi. So I think it's an interesting question. They've used Patrick Chung mostly against the tight ends. I'd expect to see that matchup. I think we'll probably see Stephon Gilmore match up to Jeffrey, and I believe they were college teammates at South Carolina.
Yep.
And then the run defense hasn't been great, but when it's needed to be good, it's mostly been good, like last week against the Jaguars. So I think it'll be interesting. Are they going to try to work with those individual matchups, or are they going to try to double some of these guys? I think you'll see some doubling in the red zone, but they might just try to play straight up on those guys for the most part and only double if they really need to.
Well, the game plan is such an important piece here because it's crazy. Even in our who knows if it will be wrong or right sim here, the Patriots scored 0 points in the first quarter, and I believe they also did in our last year's Madden Sim, and they have never scored a point in the first quarter of any Super Bowl, which is pretty crazy. So when you look at all their playoffs in Super Bowl, especially Super Bowls, the Patriots play their football in the second and the fourth quarter. That's when they score the majority of their points by a landslide. So, kind of going back to that Jacksonville game, I was shocked as to when they came out of this in the second half, running the ball just up the middle to Fournette. I think that what you saw in Pittsburgh both times was the play action bootlegs to Bortles were just killing the Steelers. And Matt Patricia was asked this week about the gray hairs in his beard, and he said he names them after quarterbacks that gave him trouble, and he named one of them Cam Newton. How much do you think a mobile quarterback, and why is that so hard sometimes for the Patriots? It kind of does seem to be their kryptonite in some games. Do you think Nick Foles moving this ball on his feet is something that could really be a problem for the Patriots?
I mean, mobile quarterbacks definitely give them trouble. I think, the Patriots, they rush the passer differently than most teams. No team has used fewer top 50 picks on edge rushers than the Patriots since Belichick got there. Chandler Jones is really the only top 50 pick they've used on like an actual edge rusher, which is, that kind of tells you something. And against mobile guys, their priority seems to be to keep them in the pocket. Mm-hmm. So usually those guys don't make a lot of plays with their legs, but sometimes you have a mobile guy like Cam Newton who, they keep him in the pocket and he's like, fine. He just hits passes downfield on him. They've had some trouble with Russell Wilson. Colin Kaepernick carved them up. I don't know. I guess that was probably like 5 years ago now. I don't know if Foles is really that kind of guy. I mean, the boot game is certainly part of that offense, but I don't think he's somebody that they're going to prioritize worrying about him breaking contain and getting outside the pocket.
Yeah. The digital Eagles are doing exactly what they need to do to beat the Patriots, and that's move the ball and move the chains in the fourth quarter with a lead. Having the ball last, as Ron Rivera and co know against the Patriots, is really how you beat them. You don't give Brady that chance. You stay on the field, you score last, and take your ball and go home. So I don't know. Eagles driving again here. This could be this might be a good thing for you, Dave. With the Falcons winning last year, you kind of might want the Eagles to win this digital Madden Sim here. 3 minutes.
Yeah.
We're at the 2-minute warning here in the game, I should say.
I think the part of this, obviously the Madden Sim, whatever, but the part of this that I think
this is
could be
very
reflected,
official. This is a very official sim, Dave.
I think the Patriots defense, people are making a big deal that they finished top 5 in points, but I think they're kind of a front running defense where when they get a lead, they can, the offense is moving. They have a great kickoff coverage team, and then they just bury teams with field position, like terrible field position. And then the teams have to go for it on 4th down and stuff. And they end up putting the defense in really favorable positions because the offense is so good. And if they get behind, that's going to be a lot harder. They can do it. We saw that last week against Jacksonville. Certainly we've seen that in recent years, but I think that's one of the concerns if the Eagles get off to a lead, or can they keep the defense off balance?
Right. And then, like I said, moving the chains late in the game is what you need to do. Digital Bill Belichick using his first time out here, 156 in the game, 14-6. A few more things, Dave. Did you see Gronk playing Xbox today?
I did not.
ESPN Gronk was at the Microsoft store, similar to what Greg Olsen did, Chris. I don't know where it was, somewhere in Minnesota.
I'm guessing the Mall of America.
Probably.
That's where they seem to be throwing everybody there.
I guess there is a GameStop there, right, getting some nice coverage. Ooh, we have another touchdown, Dave, and I'm sorry, that if that stands, there's another digital Lombardi. I've said digital 1,000 times going to the Eagles here. But Gronk playing Xbox, isn't he in the protocol? I know a lot of people were up in arms about that. Probably a good sign that he's ready to go. I don't think anyone really had a doubt that he was playing, but I thought that was kind of interesting for a guy that's in the protocol. What do you think?
I'll be shocked if he doesn't play on Sunday.
Yeah.
And obviously he's a difference maker. I mean, whether, he's putting up the numbers or if they're dedicating a lot of resources to stopping him and it opens things up for other people. Either way, I mean, he's absolutely going to be a focal point for the Eagles.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny, we were talking about receivers and, a lot of people are saying no Edelman, no Gronk, and Brady still gets it done. And I looked at their roster. You could make an argument that every one of the Patriots' other receivers is better than Devin Funchess. Am I wrong about that, Chris? Chris Hogan?
So who do you got?
Amendola?
Hogan?
Cooks.
I mean, Cooks wins.
Cooks certainly, yeah.
Hogan's probably in the same class. Probably Amendola too. Different kind of receiver, but
yeah,
definitely you'd take Cooks and Gronk over Funchess.
Yeah. So I'm not feeling bad for that.
Gronk for sure.
But Dave, I had to laugh today about Boston.com's article. I don't know if you saw them talking about the possible Grand Slam here in Boston. Talking about Patriots in February, and don't get me wrong, I love the Bruins, I love the Celtics, I'm also a Red Sox fan, so I'm a fan of the teams that play in Boston proper. A lot of people ask me that question. No, I haven't just shunned the entire city, just the Patriots. But Pats in February, Bruins and Celtics in June, Red Sox in October. Super Bowl may be the opening act for Boston's possible Grand Slam. I mean, shouldn't you wait till you get one of them? What's going on
at least two. Wait until you get at least two to even talk about
when you're that spoiled with championships. I mean, I'll tell you, it's going from the most cursed sports city to the most blessed, why not throw it out there? What do you got to lose?
Well,
we only won 3 of the 4. Damn.
I try to explain why people hate Boston fans. And here we are, Boston.com, that this exact article is why. You're talking about a possibility of all 4 of your teams winning a championship when half of them aren't even close and you haven't won one yet. Come on, guys.
Nothing in there about Boston College?
Come on, Boston.com. Give me a break.
It seems like half the Boston media is posting stuff that's obnoxious that way, and then half the Boston media is posting stuff that's obnoxiously negative about teams that have done nothing to deserve them. Like Dan Shaughnessy complaining that they've only played tomato cans, or the idiot on EEI talking about Brady's kids. It's like, they're going to be stupid one way or the other.
That was interesting, Chris. I don't know if you saw that Tom Brady on WEEI, which
the pissant comment.
Yes, the pissant comment. Yeah, you can't do that. You can't do that when you have Brady as your guest each week, man.
Say what you want about me,
for like 15 seconds. It's not like she was on for like half the time.
Yeah.
Well, it's not even that, man.
I haven't
it's
watched
just,
it.
You don't, man. Brady brings in viewers because I'm sure he's on there all the time, right?
On that show, I believe he's there every Monday or whatever it is. Yeah.
There you go. People don't get a lot of access to Tom Brady, it seems like, from my perspective. And obviously, I'm not on the ground there. But, like, dude, that's your meal ticket, you know?
I think, did they fire him, Dave? Did he get fired for that?
No, they said they suspended him without pay because Tom asked him not to fire him.
Look at that. Tom Brady. What a guy.
Real man of the people.
21-6 here. Finds himself in a tougher situation here on the screen. These games, like 30 seconds takes like 4 minutes. It's still get a minute 7. Game. Yeah, it's 21-6. Minute left in the game. Patriots fans have not lost hope yet. But while this wraps up, Dave, hey, congratulations. I guess it must be fun. You know, everyone talks about. It's funny how going through the year, how me being a fan of a different team, in Boston is so. It's just not the same, right? I mean, everyone mocked me at both Saints losses. And, I talk about how hard our division is. And then the Patriots can go lose to the Dolphins. And we always lose to the Dolphins. It's a divisional game. And when do you see this? Do you see this AFC East? What's it going to take for this to be another competitive division? I mean, I guess Brady leaving might bring the Patriots down to the other team's levels. But, a lot of teams, I'm not using it as an excuse. I'm not going to be the one that says, hey, you guys play in a weak division. But, I mean, the stats are there. It's funny how closely they play each other. But, what team do you see kind of challenging the Patriots soon, if you will?
I don't know. I mean, I think McDermott did some good things in his first year in Buffalo in terms of changing the culture there and getting them back to the playoffs. But, you could also said the same thing about Gase and the year before in Miami, and that momentum didn't really continue the next year. I actually think all three of those coaches are pretty good with Bulls and the Jets too, but they haven't been able to pair the coach with the quarterback. And I mean, that's kind of the trick, it's like you got Tom Brady and you got Bill Belichick. And you got Brady taking like less money to help them fill out the roster, and Belichick's so good on the front office side too. I mean, I hope that the kind of 10 years that the Patriots went without winning a Super Bowl makes the fans kind of appreciate that it's hard, because it seemed like it was easy in the first part of the millennium.
I think that the Patriots and Bill, as far as what you just mentioned, like the front office part of it, you got people taking pay cuts like Brady, just what goes into it, him finding these special teams gunners and people who end up being kind of your unsung Super Bowl hero half the time are guys that no one wanted to draft. I mean, Chris, I don't want to speak for you, but I think that the rest of the league kind of does, envy that. But
sure, who wouldn't envy what they've got,
right?
Top to bottom.
But I mean, it's more than look how great Tom Brady is, look how great Gronk is. It's Edelman and all that. It's more of that behind the scenes stuff that you said that puts them over the top. A lot of teams can. Give them a run for most of the game, as we've seen, in Super Bowls and the Jaguars games. And, but I think that, that is what puts them over the top. And, but not in this one. We get Nick Foles here kneeling the ball. So I'm sorry, Dave. That's,
brutal.
That's 2 in a row.
Ouch.
Yeah. Victory formation. They did the onside kick. I was actually just gonna leave you on a cliffhanger there and make you watch the YouTube. But
Oh wait, so the Pats did score again?
they did score again. 21-13 is the game. Nick Foles in victory formation here on the Patriots 35. I mean, hey, great game. 21-13, a lot better than last year's, Dave. I mean, we had our 7-3 barn burner.
Oh, yeah.
But I mean, the Sim.
I thought you meant the actual Super Bowl last year.
Oh, last year's Super Bowl wasn't that exciting. That was pretty boring.
Was there any word if the Eagles were able to film the Patriots walkthrough ahead of time? Like, how did they do this?
Digitally, yeah, they might have been able to.
Yeah, they might have.
But it sucks that well, not sucks, but the whole week last week they were showing every Super Bowl on the NFL Network. I don't know if you caught any of that, Dave.
No.
But I'm literally, so I just renovated my house, still putting the finishing touches on, ready to put the 65-inch TV on the wall for Super Bowl Sunday here. We finish it, everything's done. I literally hit power to the cable box, and it's the Patriots-Panthers Super Bowl ending. And, that's just my life in a nutshell over here, Dave. You get excited for 10 minutes, and then you just get, smoked right back down to earth, usually by Tom Brady and co. But hey,
what a great game that was, though. I mean, the
was a
whole
great
fourth
game.
quarter, it's crazy back and forth.
Whoever had the ball
It's
last.
amazing. After those first 25 Panther plays on offense, like the game just totally shifted. It's crazy.
And then John Casey did us
Both
a great
Patriots safeties got hurt at some point in that game.
Oh, the confetti is falling. It's official. Super Bowl champions, Eagles. But hey, like I said, Dave, that's probably a good sign for you. But Dave, we have a few more minutes here. What's going on over at Inside the Pylon? I hadn't talked to that too much. I saw you guys get some podcasts out. Any plans for the next year? Any news going on over there? You want to throw my way?
The big thing we're doing right now is we're hot and heavy on our ITP draft guide. So we did our first one last year, and that was kind of a lot of work went into that. But this year we were able to kind of, having done it once, we were able to plan a little bit more, and we partnered with the Scouting Academy. Dan Hatman, the director there, does a great job, and he's got like a whole team of scouts and a lot of the ITP guys, reviewing tape on prospects, guys who are at the Senior Bowl, guys who weren't at the Senior Bowl, and we're doing cross checks now and starting to get stuff together for that. So we're going to have a lot of announcements on that. That's kind of the big thing that a lot of us are focused on right now. So probably a little bit less going on in the website itself than we typically see, although still people should check out InsideThePylon.com and our YouTube channel. But definitely the people should keep an eye out for the draft guide. That's going to be really cool.
And now, is that like a book? Like what's the format of that? Is it a is that a PDF? What exactly is the draft guide?
It was a PDF last year. I think that's probably what it's going to be again. We've talked about maybe doing something physical for that, but I'm not sure if that's going to happen for this year. That might be kind of a future plans thing, but definitely like an electronic PDF.
Cool, man. And so Dave's over at Dave Archie on Twitter. The Twitter for Inside the Pylon is at IT Pylon, right?
Yep.
And InsideThePylon.com. Again, Dave Archibald, it's bittersweet talking to you, Dave, because usually it means the Patriots are in a good position. But we love having you on anyway. And we're going to be going down to the draft down in Dallas. And
awesome.
We're going to have some guests. So we'll talk to you back again in April.
Okay,
how's
sure,
that, man?
definitely.
Awesome. Hey, before we let you go, what do you got for a prediction for the game? Honest prediction, Dave. Come on.
All right, let's say Patriots 27, Eagles 20.
27.
Ooh, man, I'm at 28-17 Patriots. Wow, makes me feel better.
Where are we at in Vegas here? I believe the Pats are
-4.5.
Minus 4.5, and the over-under is like 48 or something?
48.
So Dave, it's close, but Dave technically going under there, I believe, right? 47 you had, I think, right?
Yep.
So, interesting. And any prop bets this year, Dave? Anything you're that's catching your eye?
Ooh, I haven't looked too close. Was there anything that you were banking on?
Well, you had the usual, but I like when they do it now, that when you can bet on the game and then something like completely irrelevant. It's like Patriots -4.5 parlayed with like the Carolina Hurricanes scoring more than 2 goals,
Don't bet on that.
My brother actually bet on the Panthers Super Bowl that the Panthers would win the Super Bowl and Trump would win the presidency. And it's funny because the Super Bowl, happens in February or whatever, and then he had to wait almost like a year almost, to find out if the Panthers have won, if he won the whole bet. But Von Miller.
Good God, what was Trump at that point?
I don't even know because that was February.
I can't imagine the parlay on that.
Well, yeah, but so that's the thing. Yeah, it was kind of an underdog bet. My brother thought the sure shot was the Panthers. Von Miller crushed both of our hearts that day, but whatever. We don't talk about that anymore, Dave.
I kind of like Brandon Cooks in this game. I don't know what his over-under is at, but I feel like if they can get him matched up on Jalen Mills. Mills is a good corner, but he ran like a 4.6 or something. And if they could get Cooks matched up on him, he could get a couple big catches.
Interesting.
Boy, and I've got an awesome prop bet for you, and I haven't looked at the list, but how many times do they talk about Chris Hogan playing lacrosse? Because I don't know if you know that, but he played lacrosse.
I thought they were over that. 4. They still do that?
Oh, did you know that Bill Belichick also played lacrosse?
Okay, that I legitimately did not know.
I did know that. Yes. So maybe
did you know that he used to coach the Browns?
Maybe that's the key, is finding lacrosse players. Maybe Bill knows something we don't.
Future, man. So maybe.
Hey, anyway, we're out of time here. Again, thanks to Dave, Archibald, and also earlier to Josh Klein from the Riot Report was on in the first half, and our new announcement. Dave, we didn't even fill you in on that. We've partnered up with the Riot Report, which is an awesome Panthers site around here, or not around here, down in Charlotte. But so a lot of new content coming out. Again, we're gonna be doing some stuff down the draft. We had Josh on earlier. He's their managing editor. Check out theriotreport.com. Also InsideThePylon.com. And Dave, we'll hopefully talk to you in April. How's that?
Great being on with you guys. Definitely be interested in coming on again.
We'll schedule it. Our people will talk to your people. But hey, good luck, Dave, Sunday, and we'll be back next week, guys. Keep pounding.